Rand, I need another episode of Fully Cinematic.
I've never recapped a Western on this channel before, and unfortunately, A Tale of Two Guns is going to be the first one to get the rundown treatment. The story begins right away with a violent confrontation. After riding up on a group of wanted men, a gang calling themselves the Cowboys, lounging on a porch, Marshal Terrence McTeague announces himself and his intentions, which immediately elicits gunfire from the dudes he came to arrest. When the smoke clears, all but one of them, including some named McCluskey and McTeague's two deputies, are dead as the lone surviving outlaw, Abel Cruz, rides off into the desert out of range of McTeague's rifle. McTeague caught a hot one during the firefight, which cancels him out of bringing in or even bringing down the escaped bandito. So he recruits the much younger Artemis Hollinger, who, like himself, lacks a fondness for horses to accomplish the mission. Hollinger is also not a quick draw, explaining that accuracy, not speed, is key to successful gunslinging. We flash back to a boring-ass incident in which he gunned down a fugitive in a forest just to drive home the point. Seriously, this section of the movie just dragged on and on and on. After Hollinger's job interview, the two new colleagues head down to the local saloon in order to question Abel's old running buddy, Thaddeus. After Thaddeus and Hollinger exchange offensive words, they step outside for a duel, ending in the former catching three hot ones before revealing Cruz's most likely destination. Speaking of home, the man in question finds himself ambushed by a guy looking to collect a bounty for his capture on the trail. After paying him off himself, Abel meets up with Machete and the lawnmower man in order to figure out his next move. After leaving the confab, Starship Troopers is bushwhacked by the same guy he paid off earlier. Obviously, the money he gave him wasn't enough, but it should have been because Abel takes it right back off of his dead body after putting his dick in the dirt. Sometime later, Hollinger has an armed confrontation of his own when he tumbles onto some random guy's land. Random guy informs him that the dead man was a friend of his wife's and lets him know his killer, Abel's, likely trajectory based on the landscape. Back to Cruz. He takes a break in the mine shaft before being caught unawares by an Apache warrior. The ensuing scuffle leaves each of them impaled by an arrow, but only Abel walks away with his life. He even takes the time to bury the guy. Badly injured, he falls off his horse after riding off and deviates from his plan in order to stop by the nearest town so he can get medical treatment. After getting patched up by a flirty doctor, Abel buys a parcel of land from U.S. Army Captain Matthias Granger, who later relays the entire exchange to Hollinger. Feeling celebratory after making his purchase, Abel joins a poker game in a local saloon where Hollinger catches up to him. But before making his presence known, the card game gets testy and Cruz is accused of cheating, leading the unannounced deputy marshal to intervene with a warning shot. He does, however, allow his quarry to leave, but he does catch him outside where he introduces himself at gunpoint. Naturally, bullets fly, but neither man wants to kill the other. Hollinger gets the drop on Abel and arrests him without bloodshed. The two gunmen trade life philosophies while resting before the trip back to Tucson. And what's the most exciting part of the film, by far, Hollinger walks Cruz to his horse as the pair gets waylaid by three masked gunmen, necessitating them working together in order to survive. The now dead triggermen wearing the masks turn out to be guys from the card game. And in gratitude for Abel saving his life, Hollinger decides to let him go. Returning the favor, Starship Troopers gives him $100, the bounty he would have been paid for his capture, and promises to leave his life of crime behind before bidding him adieu. The story ends with Hollinger presenting Marshal McTeague with Abel's signature red sash as proof of his death. And in a mid-credit scene, Troopers brings flowers to the doctor who treated his wounds. Almost all of the production budget must have gone to the cast, which includes Casper Van Dien, Danny Trejo, Judd Nelson, Jeff Fahey, and headlined by Tom Berenger because this shit looks cheap as... Fahey just played another cowboy 3 years ago in Alita Battle Angel of all things, which is most definitely not a Western. Van Dien was in it too, by the way. In fact, I've never seen any of these guys in a more off-brand looking movie. There have been strides to resurrect the genre throughout the years, and I can confidently tell you, it's definitely not going to happen with this kind of shit. I recommend that you watch The Harder They Fall instead. In other news, it's time to highlight a few comments for previous shows. Speak of the Devil, referring to the Harder They Fall episode, C. O'Neill said, "Now, how did y'all like The Harder They Fall? I have watched it multiple times and I loved it." I loved it too, CO. It's one of the best movies of 2021. And in reference to our interview with Doko Film Fest founder Ray Smith, Cameron Robinson said, "I love the concept here." Fresh Out the Shower said in response to our Coda review, "Oh wow, definitely have to check this out. I'm in ASL level 2 right now." Shout out to C. O'Neill, Cameron Robinson, and Fresh Out the Shower for dropping comments. And shout out to everybody who subscribed to the channel. But I had enough of this conversation. I'm logging off.
Fully cinematic.